But yeah, by the time this interview is out, your debut album is going to be out, Lost and Found.
Yeah,
So congratulations on that. I mean, that's huge. What has it been like kind of building up to this release and having it out in the world?
it's exciting. It was a lot of work for sure, but at the end of the day, I'm just excited to get some music out in the world. So,
Yeah, I mean, there are 10 tracks, I believe, on this album. What was it like kind of picking and choosing what songs made it onto the final cut?
it was definitely a weird process. I live with my brother and like my best friend. I grew up, and we would listen in. I made it over like a course of 3 or 4 months, and once a month we'd listen in and choose some tracks together. So they really helped me.
For the songs that didn't make the cut, are fans ever going to be able to hear those or are they gone?
Uh, they're probably gone.
Really?
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
mean,
mean,
is there a reason they're not being released later or they just didn't fit the vibe?
they didn't fit the vibe, and I don't know. I make a ton of music, and there always comes a point with a song, no matter what song it is, where I just get sick of hearing it. So,
Fair enough. I
yeah.
mean, what was the mental state kind of like making an album as opposed to just making a singular song? Was that different for you or was it the
For
same?
sure. Definitely different. I'm now obsessed with making albums. That's like
Okay.
what I want to do, because I really enjoy like having a theme and a cohesive idea and trying to make it all make sense.
I mean, if you could describe this album in 3 words, what would they be?
3 words. That's tough. Lost and found.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you hope listeners kind of take from this, especially with it being your debut album?
I hope my only real hope for this is it just makes people smile and puts them in a good mood.
Mhm. And I need to know more about the title, Lost and Found. How did you come up with that? Was it something that you had before you made the album? What was it like?
Uh, it kind of just came up out of nowhere. I didn't have it before I made the album. It was like I finished the album. I was like, shit, I need to name this, and then it was like the first name that came to mind, so I went with it, and it
I mean,
worked.
did you get any help with it?
No, no, but it came pretty naturally because it fits like the theme of the album pretty well, I would say. Yeah.
hmm I mean, now that you have this debut album out, have you thought about tour maybe?
Yes, yeah, that's a big goal for sure. It's interesting. I it's hard to book one for sure. The goal would be to be like opening for a bigger artist on tour. But I just got into a school in Norway, so I'm gonna be moving to Norway in September. So it's gonna be hard to tour while living in Norway.
Yeah, that might be a bit difficult. I mean, what are
Yeah,
you going to school for?
it's a music school. It's called Limpy. I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, talking more about you, I know that you write a lot of music. You've been writing for a while. Was it always something that you wanted to do, or did it kind of find you?
It found me for sure. In fact, it like hit me over the head and completely rocked and changed my whole entire world. So came out of nowhere. Yeah, about 3 or 4 years ago, probably about 3 years ago, is when I started making music, and ever since then, I've been fully obsessed. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, 3 years is a while. Do you have a favorite musical memory?
that's a good question. Yeah, yeah, I would say there was this. I forgot what it was called, but it was this one beat I made, and like, of course, all the songs I made in the beginning were horrible. um, and there was this one beat I made it. I made it like on vacation with my mom, and I came home and showed my friends, and it was like the first time they were actually like, "This is good." And so I was like, "Fuck yeah, I can actually do this." And I remember like having a realization that sharing music, not just making music, was a big part of what I love. So
hmm
Yeah.
I mean, obviously releasing a debut album is a huge step in your career, but what are your next goals for the future?
My biggest goals as an artist are to tour the world, be a full-time musician, and the biggest goal is to like affect people in a positive way all around the world.
And you'd said you wanted to try and open for bigger acts. Do you have any people that you would want to go on tour with or like dream collaborations?
For sure, yeah. My ultimate dream collaboration, which will be pretty hard given the circumstances, Mac Miller. But for now, like to go on tour, I'd love to open for Still Woozy. I love his music, and the list goes on. I just opened last weekend for a band called The Palms, and they're one of my favorite bands ever. So it was a dream come true for sure. And
Yeah. Do you
try and
find that you enjoy live music? Like, what's one thing that you enjoy about getting on stage?
I love getting on stage. That's maybe my favorite part of all of this. It's just exciting, and it's a really beautiful thing when you have a room full of people moving in the same way and listening and taking it all in. It's nothing beats it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, did you go to concerts before you started making music? Do you have a
Oh, yeah.
memorable one?
I love shows. My favorite concert I've ever been to was Tosh Sultana. She's incredible. She does like loop shows. So it was at ACL Live in Austin, which is like my favorite venue ever too. But she just had like her living room set up on stage and would make the songs from scratch, like on stage and just jam. It was awesome. Like she'd sit on her couch and just make songs. It was super cool.
I mean, is that what your set could possibly look like in the future?
Yeah, that's the goal for sure. I want to like play the guitar and loop it, then play the drums and loop it, bass, keys, and so on.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
My last question for you. I know that you have a lot going on right now, but do you have any future projects in the works?
Yes, I am working on my next two albums right now. I for this album I developed some characters. It's kind of like my band, and it's four characters that they're named Francis Lovegood, Boogie Billingsley, Demand Dubois, and Carl, and they're all sides of my personalities. And my next four albums will be like their solo albums where I just fully flesh out that character. So Francis Lovegood will be next.
Okay. And what can fans expect from that if you can hint at anything?
Uh, an album full of love and a different sound sonically, for sure.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to hear it. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It was so great to talk to you.
Yeah, you too.